Shalom Rabotai. We are continuing the Mishnah Yomi in the fourth parak of Sheviit. Bezrat Hashem, finishing the fourth parak today, Erev Shabbat. So Mishnah Tet reads, Zaytim, what about olives? So yesterday we talked about the ripening of fruits during Sheviit, and you can really only eat the fruits in a regular manner once they're ripe, so you're not wasting them in a sense, because eating unripe fruits is a bit of wasting. We talked about that yesterday. What about olives? Glad you asked. Misha yochnisu revit l'seya. Once they can yield, when you squeeze them, a reviat of olive oil for a seya of olives. Potseya v'ochel basodeh. You can go ahead and break them open and eat them in the field. When we say break them, we mean they would squish them a bit so the skin would crack open, and that kind of helps them to ripen and soften, so you can eat them even though they're not really fully ripe, l'maisa. Heichnisu chotzi lug, if you could squeeze them and yield a half a lug, kotesh v'soch basodeh, you could crush them and then soch, anoint yourself, basodeh, out in the field, because olives, Rabbosai, are not merely for eating, but there's also a normal use of olives in anointing, in smearing, is the technical term, the oil on the skin. It's good for you. That was their one of their best beauty products. Yichnesu shlish, if they've entered a third of their growth, or it could be a third of the full amount of oil you could possibly yield from these olives. Kotesh besodeh, v'kones l'toch beito. You can go ahead and crush them out in the field and then bring them into the house. So again, we said yesterday, the chiluk between using them in the field when they're less ripe and then bringing them to the house when they're more ripe. Ken ki yotzi behen bishar shnei shavua, and so too in the other years of the week. We mentioned yesterday there's a week of years, not just a week of days. So the 7-year cycle, chayavin b'maisrot. In the other 6 years that are not Sheviit, that's when they're chayav in maisrot, once they are of this shlish, this 1/3 of their growth. Similar, the olives are in that sense similar to tzvua, to grains. Ushar kol perot ilan, and what about the rest of the fruits? Because we've only discussed figs, grapes, and olives in the last 2 days of Mishnayot. Onatan lemaisrot. When the cutoff for meiser is ken onatan Sheviit, that's when they should be eaten in Sheviit. Bartanura points out, enochlen behen b'Shviit, ad shegiu la'onat maisrot. Amafurish. So we're going to talk about this in Masechet Maisrot, what the cutoff point is. But other fruits were typically never used unripe, or until they had become fully ripe. It was davka te'enim anovim zaitim b'gilim lechol kodem b'shulan. So the Bartanura again says it was davka, the figs, grapes, and olives were eaten or smeared a little bit early before they were fully ripe, but the other fruits not. We're going to see in Masechet Masrot there's machloket about some of the fruits, if they're even chayav meiser deraita, or if it's a derabanan. We're going to talk about that there. Mishnah Yud. Me'ematai ein kot sinilen b'Shviit. From when can you not cut down a tree in Sheviit? Now we know we don't usually cut down fruit trees. Ki adam soda. We have all these issues, and some of them are very spooky Zohar type issues. Here on for Lad Bomer, who mentioned the Zohar, there's a lot of scary things about cutting down trees unnecessarily, and consult your local Orthodox rabbi and botanist and tree expert about this. But there are times it's mutter to cut down trees. The Gemara mentions he needs somewhere to build a house so he can get married and fulfill the mitzvah of building the world. So see that humans do take precedence over trees, even though trees are super important. So from when can you not cut down a tree during the 7th year? Beit Shammai Omrim, Kol Ilan Bisha Yotzi. Any tree, once it goes out, the Bartanura says once it brings forth leaves. Rambam, other sources say brings forth the fruits, once the fruits bud. Beit Hillel Omrim HaCharuvin, the carobs, it's good. It's leftovers from Bar Yochai. Mishe Yishol Shelu, from when they weigh down and they hang down off the tree. Hagafonim Mishe Goreu, the grapevines, from when they form their gurin, their seeds inside. Azeiti Mishianetsu, olives when they blossom. Shokol Ilan Mishiyotzi, the other trees when they bring forth, whether that's leaves or fruits. So from that time and on, where the fruits are developing on the tree, the fruits have Kedushas Sheviit. So you can't cut down the tree, even for a permitted purpose. V'chola ila, and the Mishnah continues, Keivon shabal onot maisrot. Once it's come to the time of Meiser, which we mentioned in the last Mishnah, the fruits are fully ripe. The fruits don't really need the tree anymore. Mutter l'kotzitzo. So now you can cut the tree. Obviously, you can't waste the fruits. They have kedushat shmita, Sheviit. You have to eat them properly. But the tree itself, if there's a permitted reason to remove the tree, he could. Kami zayit v'lo yikatetsu, and how much could be in olives, and you're not allowed to cut it anymore. Rova. Once they make, again, a rova of oil, like we discussed yesterday, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel Omer Hakolafi Zayit. It depends on the zayit. Some zaytim don't have a lot of yield, or they really don't give so much, so it'd be more mutter to cut down the tree. So again, it's not an easy shaila, and it needs some consultation before anyone takes an axe to the tree. Shabbos.